virtual Dog Days of Summer. And guess what? I've got Rosie here. Now, if the puppy right there looks very familiar, and she looks like Rosie, that's Rosie's mom. Rosie, look, do you recognize Mama? Rosie seems quite mesmerized with the screen. There's your Mama. There's Betty. And Carrie, of course. I'm not ignoring you, Miss Carrie. Hi, Carrie. So nice to see you and Betty. Oh, my goodness. Now, first of all, I want to sort of rewind back for these dogs, because these dogs had a really tough beginning. It's almost 4 years to the day, which really surprised me. I was like, 4 years already? I feel like I just got Rosie yesterday. That Rosie and Betty and 274 other dogs were rescued from a hoarding situation right here in New Jersey in the town of Howell. They call them the Howell 276. And the Howell 276, there were 276 dogs, which is inconceivable to imagine. I know you have more than one. I only have the two. And there are some days where you're like, there are so many dogs here. Right. I couldn't even imagine 276 dogs. And Betty, your beautiful little pup there, is Rosie's mom. And every time we get together, whether I see you in person with Betty or whether we interact on social media, I just cannot believe how much mom and daughter look alike. Don't they look so much alike?
They really do. Betty got a bad quarantine at home haircut. So they really do. Their noses and their eyes. The eyes. And not only physically, but their personalities seem to be so alike.
They are carbon copies. Now, you and me first met a couple years ago. You came out to a DHA event. I believe it was Puptoberfest. Mm-hmm. And I saw you approaching the table. I did not know you. I had not met you when you adopted Betty. By the way, Betty and Rosie, both from the Denville Animal Shelter, the fabulous Meredith Petrillo, took wonderful care of them. So when I first saw you approaching the table, what did I say to you?
I could see your face. I was like 10 yards away, and I saw her face, and you were talking to one of your colleagues at the tent. Like, and you were pointing at us, and so we walked up, and I didn't even introduce myself. You're like, is that Rosie's mom?
I knew it was my dog's mother because I could just see it in her eyes. Now, when the pups were rescued from Howell, it was a big deal. I remember seeing it on the news. Everybody was in there with hazmat suits. For those of you who may not be that familiar with the case, the pups were living in terrible conditions, which is what happens when you have 276 dogs in one house. They were obviously not vaccinated and not properly vetted and hungry. I looked at Betty from the first day that I saw her at the shelter, and she's a completely different dog now. Now, I got Rosie at just 9 weeks old, but you had Betty, and Betty was already an adult dog. So tell me what it was like when you first adopted her, and how did you hear about Betty and about the case?
I heard about it from the Denville Animal Shelter Facebook page. I actually didn't hear about it on the news. I don't know how I missed that, but I didn't hear about it on the news, and I saw some of the dogs that Meredith had brought in, and I kind of had been thinking about adopting another dog, but not really. And then I saw these dogs, and I was like, well, my sister and I were like, we'll just go to the shelter and take a look. You know how that always goes.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
And, I remember Meredith let Betty out of the pen so we could see her, and she didn't want anything to do with me, but she went right into her baby's crate. There was like a little baby gate that was keeping them in their pen, and she just hopped right over the baby gate right to her babies. Like they had been separated because she was trying to wean them, but she immediately was like, I want to make sure my babies are okay. And I thought, what a sweet dog. And so Meredith was kind enough to adopt her to me. And it was a hard transition. She had a hard time she immediately bonded with me, and didn't want, if she wasn't right next to me, she was very upset. I would be like in the other room, and she'd stand up, and I guess this is from being in the old house where they tried to get away from each other. She would stand up on furniture, like up on the
I remember that about her. I remember going to the shelter, and watching her go from the floor to a chair, from the chair to a desk, to the desk to a higher part of the desk.
Yeah.
And I was told that it was because, look, there was so much like fecal contamination and dogs around that they were trying to get away from each other, try to get to safety. She was probably trying to bring some of the babies to safety too. Betty was an amazing mom. I mean, she took such good care of her babies. So how long did it take before she bonded with you, Terrie? And, like with the family and felt, I shouldn't say bonded, I should say felt safe. How long do you think it took? Or is it still a work in progress?
Oh no, now she loves everybody. She loves everybody. She has her two other dogs, and they're such a pack, the three of them together.
Yeah.
But it took a while. She immediately bonded to me, but almost in like a desperate way where she just wanted to cling to someone to feel safe. Whereas now she's bonded to other family members where I don't have to be around for her to feel safe and comfortable in the home. But I'd say that took a couple of months. And some of it was or I should say a lot of it was with the help of her trainer, Cindy Morrow, and her behaviorist, Dr. Levine, who was at the animal emergency over in Fairfield. I think now she's with a different practice. But with their help, Betty has really blossomed, and her spirit every day amazes me. How she's a fun girl, she's a silly girl, but she's protective of us, she's brave, she's still such a great, she has such a maternal spirit because I foster kittens, and she loves them. She'll be like their second mom while they're here.
Well, you wonder, in this house, look, this is the perfect example of why you should spay and neuter.
Yes.
How 2 dogs turn into 276 dogs. You think it's not possible? It's possible. Mm-hmm. And that's why, in any situation, spaying and neutering is key. But you wonder, we don't really know a lot about the history of these dogs. You don't know how many litters Betty had, but chances are Betty had, even if she's a young dog, dogs can have multiple litters in a year. There can be multiple fathers for a litter. And I noticed that when I first saw the pups with Betty, Rosie didn't look that much like Betty at the time. And there were the 2 other white puppies. And so we didn't really know if Betty was the mom to all the puppies, or maybe Betty was like a lactating mom and the puppies got put in with Betty. Now, obviously, as Rosie's grown, we know that Rosie and Betty are mother and daughter, and we've been in contact over 4 years, and we talk about some of their funny personality quirks, that they both have. So tell me, Betty's kind of like a little bit of a watchdog, right? She gives the bark. She gives does she do this?
That's how we start. It starts, she'll be sitting, we have like a radiator cover. And
Cute.
So she sits on the radiator cover, and she'll just start with, see? And then it turns into a full-blown right, Betty? But nothing like, it could be 2 a.m. and there could be a deer in the front yard, and she'll hear it, and she'll be sitting in bed and she'll pick her head up. So
That is Rosie. That is exactly Rosie. Rosie's public enemies are Limu Emu, the Carfax Fox, the progressive owl, anything chewy, and as soon as she sees them, it is like, I will get you, I will get you, I will get you. So yeah, they have that little, there's a little reactivity to their personalities, and especially when she hears a dog barking.
Oh boy.
And I don't know if that's maybe from being in the house. Yeah. I think maybe, imagine the sound of the volume of, and little dogs especially.
Yeah.
So maybe that has put them on, on the alert of hearing other dogs and having that be something that, they react to so strongly. I'm actually pretty surprised that she sees Betty there and is not barking, because usually anything, makes her, but maybe she knows, Rosie, it's mommy. It's your mommy. There's mama. There's Mama Betty. Look. Mama Betty knows. Where's Rosie? Rosie. Where's Rosie? Where's Mama Betty? Look. Mama Betty. You hear that? Yeah, there we go. You hear that?
I love how Rosie has that phrase. You say, "Who's a GOOD?"
Yeah.
That's so.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Oh, Mommy hears it.
Who's a good boy? I think she got that too, because when she was leery of other dogs, and she still is, she still is, even though she lives with another dog here, I think I would say, oh, it's okay. He's a, and
Oh.
I think that she associates that with another dog is coming. So, Terrie's not a trainer, trust me. I've had help from other, we went to St. Hubert's and we did some training there, and we had trainer Ralph, and it's very, very funny, because I think a lot of Rosie's barkiness and everything, everybody says is to protect me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because when she's walking around with the trainer,
She's right. That's Betty.
nothing,
So good.
nothing. But of course, when she's with Mom, good boy is not a phrase that we want to hear. We want to hear too much. So what has it been like for you? I mean, how has Betty having Betty changed your life?
I mean, she's really, she's enriched my life, because just some days it teaches you, like she's taught me about appreciating the little things. Because I feel like there are just little moments in her life that she has now that she didn't have before. Like there'll be times where I'll be in the kitchen cooking and she's just sitting on the window. She just watches out the window sometimes. We live across from, there's like kind of woods, and she'll just watch the birds or watch like things that she just couldn't do before. Like the other day, I took her out for the first time in my kayak, and she loved it. She sits on my lap, and if it's like a breezy day, she'll close her eyes and she'll smell, like just little moments that, in your life when you get busy and sucked into other things, you forget about the little moments, just little things like that. And I'm like, you know what, you're right, Betty. Let's stop and take it in. Because sometimes I think about what, for all of them, the Howell dogs, what just every day must have been like. Because it always makes me sad to see the pictures of her when she first was rescued.
I was going to ask you that, because every so often on an anniversary or whatever, I will post a picture of Betty and Rosie and the other two pups that were at the Denville Animal Shelter, kind of on their little freedom ride up in their little vehicle. And Betty, again, looks like a completely different dog. And you have said that to me. You said, this picture does make me sad. And I could imagine that it would, seeing, the condition that she was in. Betty had a lot of skin issues. When I look at all the like little lesions she had on her skin, she was super skinny. She was missing a lot of fur. And she did not look like the dog that I'm looking at right now at all, like the dog that I'm looking at right now, with that beautiful little face and those gorgeous eyes. She's just so pretty.
You could see in her eyes in some of those pictures, she just looked like a dog who was almost had given up, because she just looks so depressed and traumatized. And now when I look at her, and she really is, she has she has a fun, silly personality. Like she makes you laugh. You're being shy, but she's just like,
Rosie's being so well behaved too. I don't know why. This is so unlike Rosie. Like, it's so funny, because she's usually not this well behaved at all. She's usually like
the first time we met the two of them met in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah. The first 5 minutes, I thought they were going to kill each other.
I have a video of it on my phone.
With dogs is we brought them in for a reunion, and we've done it a couple of times. And when you take them off their leashes, and everybody sort of, and we brought them back to the shelter, there was a part of me, and they were very trepidatious when they were walking through the shelter. I don't know if you remember that, but I almost wondered to myself, gee, I wonder if they have any kind of memory or smell or scent from here. Although their life at the shelter with Meredith was quite good. She had a great doggy condo for them. Yeah. Same with Rosie. When Rosie sees Meredith, Rosie goes ballistic. She's so happy to see Meredith, jumping on her, kissing her. It doesn't matter how much time has lapsed. So they had a great, thanks to the Denville Animal Shelter, where Meredith just took such great care of them physically. Remember, puppies are very susceptible to everything, anything and everything. Betty had been through the ringer and then some. And, Meredith kept them healthy and not catching any diseases, and making sure that they were taken such great care of, and turned out to be such awesome dogs. And do you wonder, I often wonder, how many litters of puppies would Rosie have had? how
Oh,
long would this have gone on and what her life would have been like now had
yeah.
she still been in that house in Howell.
That's a great point. Oh, and was it 4 years? She could have had who knows how many
Oh my
per
gosh.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Three litters a year, you
yeah.
know, something like that of
I'm
puppies.
so thankful they were rescued when they were. I mean, my sister adopted a dog a couple years ago from a hoarding situation, but he probably lived in that situation for 10 years.
Oof.
So, I'm so happy that they were rescued when they were, because, they'll get so many more years to be in a family.
Yep. Look, mine was like yours when you said, oh, I'll just go and I'll visit
Yeah.
and I'll see. And I was delivering food because
Oh,
at DHA, we had all this extra food left over from a pet event. Meredith was at my pet event the day after. She was there till 2 o'clock in the morning doing the rescue. And she said, oh, we were on this rescue in Howell. And I said, oh, I saw about the case on the news. And she said, oh, we've got these wonderful moms and puppies. And I said, oh, give me the okay when it's okay. And I would love to come by and see them. So we saved some of the food and we were going to bring some of the food by. And that was when I saw Betty, Rosie, and the siblings. I don't keep in touch with the other two siblings, but
yeah.
I keep in touch, obviously with you. And it's been really, really nice to get them back together and have them see each other, once a year at Christmas time. They've exchanged their Christmas gifts, and that was a lot of fun. We did that 2 years, and it's just really, really nice to see them be dogs and both have such a great life. I think a lot of those dogs that came out of Howell ended up going on to really, really wonderful futures. There is a Facebook page that was set up by somebody who has a Howell dog, and it's the Howell Dogs Angels or whatever. And we do keep in touch and we do share photos. It's remarkable how many of them look alike and are very similar. Hey, do you have any idea? I always say to her all the time, I always go, I know your mama. Who's your daddy? Do you have any idea who the dad might be, what he might be? Because everybody always asks me, what kind of a dog is she? And I'm like, I have no idea.
I don't know, but I do know that I think it was last summer I went to the Howell Angels reunion, which was down by they have it once a year. It was, I forget, it's closer to the shore because a lot of the people down there adopted because it's, closer.
Monmouth County SPCA had quite a few dogs. Every shelter did pitch in and help out. So Monmouth County took some and Denville took some, and they went all over the state of New Jersey to try to find homes. 276 dogs. That's a lot of dogs.
Yes. So when we went, I think it was last year, we met one dog. I think his name was Bobby. And I remember Megan and I, my sister, we were talking to the owners, and he just looked a lot like Rosie. And I thought, we were talking and showing pictures, and I thought, I could see Bobby and Betty, which is so funny, having Rosie, having that being their
Rosie. Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find a picture of Bobby on the Howell page.
Yeah, I would love to see him. I would absolutely love to see him. We don't really know, the origins of our dogs, or people are like, oh, is she a terrier? Is she a Shih Tzu? I'm like, I have no idea. I've often thought of a DNA test, and then, life gets so busy that's like the last thing I'm thinking of. But yeah, I mean, you can see the resemblance, like mother, like daughter. You have the beautiful faces and the beautiful eyes. Look, Rosie, bud, who's that? Is that your mama? Look.
Where's Rosie? Rosie. Oh.
Rosie's like, Mom, what the hell are you? So I think we wanted to update, this case was a big case in New Jersey. And just wanted to let people know that even though a dog can come from an absolutely horrific situation, you never judge a situation by its cover. These dogs have become amazing pets. Everybody thinks, where did you buy Rosie from? She's so beautiful. And Rosie was, Denville Animal Shelter does not charge an adoption fee. They do appreciate donations. So of course I made a donation. But, I always say dogs in shelter end up in the shelter of no fault of their own. They're not broken. They're taken from situations or people who sometimes just cannot physically keep them anymore, or from owners who really just don't give a crap and shouldn't have dogs in the first place. So, but it's not the fault of a dog. They end up in shelters of no fault of their own. Everybody thinks that Rosie, our dogs look like the designer dogs, the pretty little pocketbook dogs, but our dogs were free, and they were treated, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but, almost like trash.
Yeah.
You know, and you say one man's trash is another person's absolute treasure. And we couldn't imagine life without our beautiful, gorgeous, loving little Howell dogs. And they make us laugh, and they're the biggest character. Like, there's not a day that goes by that she doesn't have me laughing, because she's a character. She's just a character. I always go, where did I get this dog? She's such a character. Right now she sees my other dog, so she sort of like wants to see what, you know, what where's Sissy? Where's Scarlet? Where's Scarlet, huh? We'll go see Scarlet? Where's Scarlet? So let me ask you, I'm going to just see if they have any of similar, before we wrap up, similar tastes in food. What are some of Betty's favorite foods?
Her current favorite treats, the only treat, are we love a good Milo's meatball.
She likes, Rosie loves the meatballs too. Yep.
A good Milo's meatball. For a special treat, like sometimes like a birthday, anniversary treat, we love, which is just a special treat, we love Arby's. The Arby's roast beef.
Wow.
That's our favorite.
Rosie's are scrambled eggs. Rosie's a scrambled egg girl. So if she even sees a dozen eggs, she's right underneath, hoping that some of them get cracked in a pan, and she's going to get some eggs. So she's a scrambled eggs girl. And of course, any kind of cheese, you know, but she loves the meatballs too. And I think these Zooks are like crack for dogs. It's
that's right. We've tried the, yeah. She's funny. She loves everything. I mean,
same with Rosie. Same with Rosie.
Just about everything.
Pretty much anything we put, anything that we put in front of her. And I'm so happy to see Betty again. I'm so glad that you guys are doing well. Betty looks amazing. We kissed them at the same time. Mwah. Mwah.
Oh,
and say goodbye to your mommy. We want everybody to know, of course, opt to adopt. Dogs are not, you know, disposable. You know, if you're having an issue keeping your dog, talk to your local municipality. There are many municipalities who can help you with food and getting vaccinations. You know, if you've fallen on hard times, I know some great people, including Sunny at the Randolph Regional Animal Shelter, who is always there to help her community. But they add so much to our lives. And it's just so nice to see Betty and Rosie living their best life. They're living the dream. They are living their best lives every day.
Oh, we see bicyclists going by.
Uh-oh.
No, she's definitely living her best life. And you guys, they all deserve it. They all definitely deserve it.
So we'll get together, of course, when everything is safe and we can do not social distancing visits. But I'm so happy that on the almost 4-year to the day anniversary of the Howell hoarding situation case being cracked and the dogs going to shelters, that Rosie was able to get back together with her lovely mom, Betty. Rosie, say bye-bye, Mama. Bye-bye, Mama. Bye. Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Betty.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.